Lisa, can you tell me about your public speaking experience, your personal approach to communication, and how this improved other aspects of your security skills?
Sure, Chris. So I attended like many conferences over the years, and I quickly realized that many of them were sharing their experiences and their stories. And a lot of these experiences I also had. So I started by, smaller conferences. I did a few webinars and they were short, and a lot of them were online, so I could use little cheat sheets.
Okay.
So that also helped me kind of get out there and not really worry about having people in front of me. I wasn't so scared, right?
Yes.
And I did a few webinars that way. And then I talked to students who were breaking into the space. So it wasn't so daunting, having all these experts out there, getting the cold feet. And then as I grew confidence and I built that confidence, I was able to, speak at larger conferences. I put in a long shot proposal for a larger conference. It was a topic about a couple of anonymous compromises in breaking into the field, something that my team and I were kind of dealing with on a daily basis. And I actually took for granted something that I dealt with all the time and didn't realize that others really didn't, understand and deal with on a regular basis. And I kind of poured hours and hours into preparing for it. And afterwards, I was kind of bombarded with feedback from the conference, from a lot of people coming up and talking to me. And then what I kind of realized was there was such a great way to also network. People were coming up and saying, oh, can we talk about this? Or can I ask you a question about that? And it ended up spawning off other ideas for other conference talks. So, they want to know about this. And I started getting the same questions about something I had talked about that I also knew a lot about. So it ended up being a spiral event. So I never thought of that. And then I ended up, that was the next topic that I would present at the next conference. And it ended up being really good. And then I would meet these people and I would go to their webinars or their conferences. And there's a couple of people I actually met when I was there. And recently I had, for instance, I had a training curriculum. We were trying to build on one of the training things that we were doing at our company. And one of the ladies that I had met with, she's in the training space, and I had reached out to her. And then it's kind of, we're building off of each other's skills. And so what I learned through this whole process was, how to articulate, on a slide, what that looks like, the thought process about using fewer words to get your point across, being articulate, the preparation. And really what that helped me do is be more articulate and thoughtful about my words and how to kind of bring people in. I've been to many conferences, and a lot of times on these conferences that you attend, you get a free ticket if you are a presenter. Yes. So if you like going to conferences and you like to attend them and hear what others are having to say, that's a great way to attend, right? And for me, it also helped me learn a lot more about areas that I'm not as confident about or understood or skilled or what have you. And it also helped me kind of pivot into other areas of cyber that I'm not well versed in. So that way, for me, if you're able to articulate your thoughts and your views, you're better able to represent what's needed in the cyber community. It also advances your career. It's a twofold, it's a 360, and it really helps you along the way.
Yeah, I love that. I want to sort of break into a couple of those things. So one, you said when you were doing it online, you had cheat sheets to help you along. Now, in more recent times, do you speak extemporaneously? Do you speak from a script? When you say cheat sheet, do you mean you had the facts at hand in case someone asks you a question, or? Yes. Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So I would have a lot of times you practice, you've got your bullet points. You might have a fact sheet. So if you wanted to weave in a fact into something you're presenting, you have your source and the percentage. If you had a bullet point of percentages, or you obviously need to prepare. You can't be reading your notes through because people will obviously know.
Right.
But you present, you practice that type of thing. But then you're able to articulate your words, and it comes kind of naturally there. And then it's kind of like your crutch, because sometimes when people present in front of people, they've got their notes and it's their crutch and they can kind of look down. Yeah. It's not necessarily as obvious if you're online. People that you're reading, but you still have your bullet points there.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for sort of breaking the scripted crutch to, get rid of the sort of training wheels and because I'm assuming that it's a lot more engaging if you're able to sort of speak extemporaneously and not get freaked out by it and stuff like that. So, and that feels like sort of like learning to play piano with two hands. Like one day you can't do it and then suddenly you can. Just keep trying. But like, what are your tips for doing that where you can just take bullet points and turn it into sort of free flowing awesomeness?
Yeah. What I used to do when I was practicing for anything like that is I would definitely do a lot more. I would start with a lot of words, and then I would pare down my words into, shorter sentences, practice. I would do slide by slide, and I would just nail down the slide. And then I would start shortening up those sentences, and then I would get it down to a word. And then I would just go and go and go. And it takes hours to practice a lot, especially your first couple. Then as you do this more often, a lot of times you just repurpose. And when you repurpose your slides, you know what you're saying, and it comes with time.
It gets easier.
Yes, it does get easier.
How about some free cybersecurity training resources for you and your team? Just go to infosecinstitute.com/free to get ebooks, training guides, and more than 100 cybersecurity training courses, all free for CyberWork listeners. Go to infosecinstitute.com/free and start learning crucial new skills today.